Hi everyone, today's lesson is lesson 51, multiplying by two-digit numbers. So when we multiply by a two-digit number, we're really multiplying twice. We multiply by the tens and we multiply by the ones. So if I did 43 times 12, I'm really doing 43 times 10 plus 43 times 2. Okay? So 43 times 10 is 430, and 43 times 2 is 86. Then I would have to add that together. 430 plus 86 equals 516. Now, when we multiply by a two-digit number, I don't have to separate the problem into two before I start. Okay? I can also just do it all together. So here's what that would look like. 43 times 12. First, we multiply by the ones column. Okay, or we multiply 43 by the 2 in the ones column. So I do 2 times 3. Well, 2 times 3 equals 6. And then I do 2 times 4. 2 times 4 equals 8. Okay, so I have 86. Now I'm going to multiply 43 by the tens column. So let's reset. Okay, so I'm going to do 1 times 3. Now this isn't really a 1, this is really a 10. So when I finish multiplying by my ones place value, I'm going to cross it off to show I'm done, and then I add a 0 down to the bottom. Because I'm multiplying by 10, and I know when I multiply by 10, my answer always ends in 0. Okay, so I like to call this give me an X, give me an O. And it just helps me remember to put this 0 in to hold the place value. Okay, now we multiply by the 1. 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 4 is 4. Now I can add these together. 6 plus 0 is 6. 8 plus 3 is 11. Carry the 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. Okay, so my answer is 516. Now, you don't have to put this 0 here as a placeholder. I think it's easier to do it, but there is another way. If I went 43 times 12, okay, I'd get 86, and I'd be done with the 2. So instead of putting a 0 here, what I do is I just line up the next number underneath the tens place. So 1 times 3 is 3, and I would just leave a blank in the ones place. And then 1 times 4 is 4, okay? And then I'd still add it. 6 plus nothing is 6. 8 plus 3 is 11. 1 plus 4 is 5, okay? I think it's easier to put the 0 here just to help me remember and line up my numbers, but it just depends on what you find is easier. Okay. All right. So let's do another example. So here, a restaurant chain purchased 95 pounds of potatoes for each of its 26 locations. How many pounds of potatoes were purchased altogether? Well, I'm going to take 95 and multiply that by 26. But since we have the word about, I actually don't have to multiply this exactly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and round, since about tells us we can estimate. So I'm going to round the 95 up to 100, and I'm going to round the 26 up to 30. Okay, so now I have 100 times 30. Okay, oops. When I multiply, remember, we can bring extra zeros down. And now I can multiply by the 3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. And 3 times 1 is 3. So it's about 3,000 pounds is about how much potatoes we have. All right, so for the next problem, it says Benito wants to multiply 35 by 20 plus 4. Using the distributive property, show his two choices, then find the answer. So the distributive property is what we've been doing so far. So what happens is with the distributive property, I can solve this in one of two ways. So it's 35 times 20 plus 4. So one way is I can find the sum first, which is 24, and then multiply 24 times 35. The other way I can do this is that I can do 35 times 20 plus 35 times 4. Okay, so this is the two ways he can do it. He can do that, or he can do 35 times 24. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve for these problems. Okay. I'm just going to draw arrows. These are his two choices. So if I did 35 times 20, that would equal 700. And then 35 times 4 would equal 140. Okay, so 70 plus 140 equals 840. Okay, so then let's multiply it this way and see if we get the same answer. So 35 times 24. Okay, so 4 times 5 is 20, carry my 2. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. I cross off the ones place and add a 0 in the tens. And I need to scoot this up a little bit. Okay. Then I multiply and I erase whatever I carry over. Now I multiply by the tens place. So 2 times 5 is 10, carry my 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. I have 140 plus 700. So 0, 4, 8. So 840. I got the same answer both times. So it doesn't really matter which way you do this. It's kind of up to you. But this is how you would use the distributive property, is you'd show it this way. Okay, let's solve these problems. So here I have 32 times 12. So I'm going to start off and do 2 times 2 is 4. And then I do 2 times 3 is 6. I cross off the 2 and put a 0 down here. Then I multiply by the ones, or the tens place. So 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 3 is 3. Add these together. 4 plus 0 is 4, 6 plus 2 is 8, 3 plus nothing is 3. So my answer is 384. Okay. I can also do this with decimal problems. So remember, when I multiply by decimals, I don't need to line up the decimal place. I can just leave it as is, because I ignore the decimal till the end. So we have 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18, carry my 1. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Okay, so I erase anything that I carried, cross off the 3, and put down a 0. Then I multiply the next number. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 6 is 12, carry my 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Okay, we add this together. We have 6. 8 plus 4 is 12, carry my 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, and then 1. Now the decimal, I'm going to put it after, I'm going to go pennies and then dimes. So pennies, dimes, my decimal goes here. Okay, all right, and that's it for this lesson. Good luck on your homework.